we are going to write all these numbers in scientific notation. So to write it in scientific notation, um, we have to understand where the decimal point is located because you're not going to see them. Like on this case, you don't see the decimal point. That means that the decimal point is always at the end. And now we need to move this decimal point so that only one whole number should be in front of it. So that means I have to move it all the way over here. And you can see the whole number, right? Now, that means that all what I have to do is count how many units I'm moving back this decimal point to get to this level right there. So I'm gonna go 1, 2, 3. You can see it 3 units, and then two more. Okay, so that means that if I have to write it in scientific notation, I'm not rewrite it this way: 2.2, and then it's gonna be times 10, and now will be to the fifth power. The exponent is positive. Okay, and that means that this number is greater than 1. Okay, so that'll be the answer. And the next one. The next one is going to be number 2, and you don't see the exponent. The exponent is going to be always at the end, and I have to move this decimal point so that only one whole number should be in front of it. So that means that I'm moving it back only 2 units. So then the answer should be 9.23. And then it's going to be times 10 to the second power. That means I move the decimal back 2 units. That's why I'm going to write it this way, 10 to the second power. Okay. And one thing that you have to keep in mind is this: you must move the decimal point so that only one whole number should be in front of it. And all you do is count how many units. You don't have to move all the time the decimal point 1, 2, or 3 units. It depends where the point is located. Like number 3. You see number 3? You don't see the decimal point, right? So then I have to move it back only 1 unit. So that means that the answer should be 5.5 times 10, and it should be to the first power. When the exponent is 1, we never gonna write it. Okay, so it's gonna be only 5.5 times 10, and that's how we're gonna write the answers. And the next one, number 4, you don't see the exponent. The exponent is gonna be 1, and I have to move this decimal point so that only one whole number should be in front of it. So that means I have to move it back 3 units. So the answer should be 7.2 times 10 to the third power. Once more, the exponent is positive because this number is greater than 1. For number 5, you don't see the exponent. The exponent is going to be right in front of number 5. Now, you don't need to move the decimal point, right? So the decimal point is going to stay exactly in the same place. So on this case, I'm going to write 5 times 10 to the 0 power. That means you didn't move the decimal point anywhere. It stayed in the same place. You can think of it that way. All right. And anything to the 0 power is 1. So this is 5 times 1. But because they wanted you to write it in scientific notation, then that's how it should look. Or that's how you should write it. Okay. Number 6. So for number 6, the decimal point is going to be always at the end. They never going to write it, by the way, unless they need it. Okay. But because in this case we need it, we have to write it. I have to move this decimal point so that only one whole number should be in front of it. On this case, I have to bring back the decimal point, count the units. So that would be 3 units plus 2 more. That would be 5. So then the answer should be 3.42 times 10 to the fifth power. Okay, so that would be the answer. And the exponent is going to be positive. Okay, the next one, number 7. We don't see the exponent, right? I mean, the decimal point. The decimal point should be always at the end. And that means that I have to move this decimal point back only 2 units. Okay, so the answer should be 4.98, and that will be times 10 to the second power. And that will be the answer. The next one, number 8, we don't see the decimal point. The decimal point should be always at the end, and I have to move this decimal point so that only one whole number should be in front of it. So I have to move all the way down here, this decimal point. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna count how many units I did move back the decimal point. So count out that would be 3 units plus 3 more. Okay. So the answer should be, let me write it under, I don't think I have the space. So it's gonna be 3.42 times 10, and that would be to the 6th power. So this is gonna be the answer. All right. The next one, that would be number 9. One more time. We don't see the decimal point. The decimal point should be always at the end. And now I have to move this decimal point so that one whole number should be in front of it. So that'll be the place where I have to move the decimal point. And now to write it in scientific notation, I'm moving the decimal point 3 units back. Okay. So the answer should be 6.54. And now it's going to be times 10 to the third power. It's going to be always times 10. And the exponent means how many units you move the decimal back. In this case, 3 units. That's why it's going to be 10 to the third power. Number 10. For number 10, you don't see the decimal point. The decimal point should be right after number 6. And you can see you don't have to move the decimal point, right? Because one whole number is in front of it. So the way how we're gonna write it in scientific notation is by writing 6 times 10 to the 0 power. This 0, think of it this way, it's like you didn't move the decimal point, right? Anywhere. So that's how it's gonna be 0. And remember, any number to the 0 power is gonna be 1. This means 6 times 1. That's what it means, but we did write it in scientific notation because in scientific notation it means that it's going to be always times 10. All right. And the next one, 23, you don't see the decimal point, should be always at the end, and you have to bring it back only 1 unit. So that would be 2.3, right? And then it's going to be times 10. And we did move the decimal back only 1 unit. When the exponent is 1, we're never gonna write it, okay? So we're just gonna write 2.3 times 10, all right? And it's understood that the exponent is 1. Now the last one, the decimal point should be always at the end. So I'm gonna bring it back 2 units, okay? So then the answer would be 1.34, and this will be times 10, and look at the place, right? 1 2 units back, so it should be 10 to the second power. That's how you write numbers in scientific notation.